Hello, my people. What y'all doing? What is happening? What's going down? What's going down in H Town? What's going down in D Town? What's up, everybody? Listen, I'm exhausted. I know I'm a hot mess. Look at this. I'm a hot mess. What are you gonna do with it? There's nothing I can do with it. I can't help it. Y'all, I just did a video over on Facebook. So if y'all saw that already, it's gonna be the same thing. I'm telling the same story. I wish I could figure out how to get videos from Facebook on YouTube and on YouTube on Facebook and switching back and forth so I don't have to do both. But I don't really know what I'm doing. If y'all know how to do that, somebody tell me. Okay, listen. I can't even show y'all paintings or nothing today. Like I have no time. I've been on the computer all day, and then I got to turn around and go right back in there. I only got to two of my subjects today. I want to get to the third one and see what's happening before I get to tomorrow. So, okay. So remember I told y'all the story when I moved to California? What I didn't tell you is what happened to my house while I was gone. So, I knew I was going to move, and so I prepared the house and painted it, made sure everything was all nice and clean and ready to go. So in case I rented it to a stranger, I really didn't know for sure what was going to happen when I was painting it. And the time was ticking, and I only had so much time to go. And when you're a broke person, you only have so much money to go somewhere. You got to hurry up and go, because the longer you stay here, the more money it costs. And then, you know what I'm saying? So I had to hurry up and go. Well, there was a friend of mine, was a friend of mine for like 15 years, and I knew her son since he was like 17 years old. And I said, can you take the house? And he said, I can't afford it by myself. I'll have to get another couple. But yeah. And I said, okay. And he didn't have any furniture or anything. So, y'all, I left him my bed and like dishes and pots and pans and, silverware and different things you might need in a house. I can't remember. I left him a coffee table. I left him some things. So it wasn't just like a naked house, right? And I took off for California. When I left, he had moved in his girlfriend and another couple. I assume everything's going peachy keen. Keeping in mind, I also left behind my feral cats and asked him to feed them every day. Well, as time went on, his girlfriend was giving me little reports about bad things happening with the feral cats. And they had a pit bull in the backyard, and y'all, I couldn't even deal with what, these stories that were coming through. So anyway, time goes on. I don't make it in Florida. I don't make it in Florida. I don't make it in California. I come back. Now, when I come back, I'm staying with a friend of mine just a few blocks away. And while I was gone, there's people that I know in the neighborhood that would drive by my house and tell me, I see this car, I see this happening, I see this going on, I see that going on. I really didn't know everything until I came back. So when I came back, the first thing I did was go to my house, see what's happening. I found out that the rent hadn't been paid for 3 months. I guess my dad and everybody didn't want to worry me or something. I don't know. So I come back and I knock on the door. Nobody answers the door. I knock harder. Nobody answers. I start to put my shoulder into it like I'm going to bust down the door. This is my house, you know what I'm saying? And I have with me my one of my ex-husbands, the third one, a big one. And, for backup, because I'm not stupid. I don't know how many people are in this house, you know what I'm saying? I figure as mad as I was, I could handle three. Probably three. So anyway, the door, as I'm shoving my shoulder into it, keeps bouncing back. Like it opens about this much and then closes back, and then opens and then closes back. And I'm thinking he's playing some kind of game with me, and it's making me madder and madder, and I'm shoving harder and harder into this door. Finally, I guess he decides I'm not going to go away, and he opens the door. And I go in, and I see that my house has been completely changed. he's not letting me move around too much, and he's giving me a sad, pitiful story, and he's telling me that he had to kick out the guy that I rented it to because he wasn't paying rent, and then he changed the locks. So the guy that I was dealing with is no longer involved. Now I'm just dealing with this guy and his girlfriend. I'm just not going to say anything. So anyway, he assures me that he's going to pay the mortgage, and I tell him, well, I'm back now, so if you just want to pay for the rest of this month, and then I'm here, so y'all can go. So I keep coming over every night to feed the cats, and it becomes a problem with him. He gains more and more of an attitude. He's bowing up to me. We're face to face every freaking night. He's sending his girlfriend out to bow up to me, like, y'all, seriously. She's like the size of my arm. But anyway, so it's making me madder and madder. Eventually, I call the police. We go through the eviction process because I just wanted to get them out, like old school style, like, you gotta go. Bye. But my parents and everybody around me did not want me to do that and wanted me to handle it the legal way. I'm just not gonna say anything. So I did, and it was a nightmarish process. Then he told me, like, I'm gonna stay here and I'm not gonna pay the rent, and there's nothing you can do about it. Y'all, I was thinking things in my head that were so not good and not healthy. And I was praying and I was putting good things out into the universe, and I was writing down, he will be out of my house. I will be back in my house. And I was doing everything that I could to try and stay the little positive me, but I was so mad and I wanted him out of my house. I mean, it's just such a violation. So eventually came the day of eviction. I forgot to preface this with the fact that I had a feral cat treehouse, like a regular size. Boys could play up there, climb on the ladder to get up there. Treehouse in my pecan tree in the backyard, and that's where I fed the feral cats. They had like an outside porch that ran the perimeter, and I fed them around there. And that way they could stay safe away from the dogs. They could always eat no matter what was going on, and they could be out of the weather because it had a roof. So I showed up the day of the eviction, and it was supposed to be at like 2 o'clock or something, and I went early. I could not help myself, and I parked in the neighbor's driveway because they told me I could not be on the property. And that was another thing he told me, I couldn't be on the property. Eventually got to the part where I couldn't be on the property, so I had to walk onto my neighbor's yard and then go up their driveway and throw cat food into the backyard so I could get the cats fed. And he would try to sweep it up and then throw it back over the fence. Y'all, I can't go into all of the like details. Just trust me, it was a nightmare. So the day came, he saw me out there. Of course, he had cameras everywhere, which I hadn't even noticed, but we'll get into that in a second. So anyway, I didn't know all of the bad things. Like, things were being revealed to me, more and more each day. When the eviction came and he saw me out there before the cops got there, he said, hey, I got a surprise for you. And I said, you do? And he said, yeah. Go check out the backyard. So I went and looked in my backyard, and he had taken a sledgehammer to the feral cat house. And it was nothing but like little tiny slivers left, just piles of crap on the ground, just destroyed it. I had all types of cops here. Like, there was SWAT cars, there was, big SUVs, there was regular cars, there was undercover cars. There was guys that came special because he was, I don't know if I told you all that part yet. Come to find out, he was, like a toy dealer, except it wasn't toys. And it was being stored, at my house. And I didn't want, when I moved back in, for my animals or us to run across any of this chemical because it's like so highly dangerous. And so I had called the cops and told them, like, I think that this stuff is still on the property. I need y'all to come and, make sure. So they brought dogs, they brought everybody. I mean, the whole street was filled with cars. Cops going in and out, in and out, in and out. Eventually, they came out with a safe box they had found and, used all these tools, got into it, and they couldn't find anything in there. And eventually, they took them to jail. And I and whoever I had here with me had to carry all of their stuff out to the curb. But we had to carry it out nicely. We had to set it down nicely. We weren't allowed to do anything to it at all. And I wanted to be there because I wanted to make sure that none of my stuff went with them. Well, they had left their pit bull behind. I made a bunch of phone calls and finally found a way to get his mother to come over and get the Pitty. Poor Pitty, he was a nice dog too. And then I found, as I'm carrying all of this crap out, I had to carry out all of their Lex toys, something that rhymes with Lex. They had a big swing hanging in my bedroom. I had to carry that out. They had all kinds of like whips and paraphernalia I had to touch and carry out. They had in one of my closets all this equipment hooked up, all of these black boxes, I don't know what they were, with all of these wires hooked up and going through my ceiling. They had gone into my attic and rearranged wiring everywhere so that they could have cameras everywhere. They had taken my paneling off in my kitchen because I had like chair rail, like, not beadboard, but like chair rail, like paneling, old school, because it's a house from the 50s. They reversed the paneling. They took all my cabinets off the walls because their idea was they were going to redo them. My entire kitchen, which is pastel pink like the back of me, turned solid black. They had put this gigantic Venohood thing in there that didn't even work. It looked like a vampire lair. Everything was like really dark and horrible, and they had blocked out all light. Like all of the windows were covered up with felt, and they, nothing, no light was coming through. The vibes in the house, were no longer mine. It took the longest time for me to get like that energy out of I did the sage, I put salt, I did everything, like trying to get their vibes out of here. They were like trying to burn the rubber off of cords or something, and so they had all of these like old metal, like, I don't even know how many, those things that you see when you see like homeless people on the street gathered around this big barrel, and they got a fire in there. They had stuff like that, and that's what they were making, put the fires in to burn all this stuff. So there was like wire and um, burnt black globs of like plastic and stuff all over the outside of my yard. They had ripped out all of my carpeting. They took my Tempur-Pedic bed, not the top of it, but the bottom, and threw it outside for the dog to sleep on and tear up and shred. They busted my coffee table. The coffee table was something that I made with like an ex a long time ago, and it was like so heavy. You could not move it easily. I tiled it. It had tile on top, and it matched the ocean, or like the water scene that I had on the mural. I had a mural. Sorry, because I told the story once already. I forget what I haven't told y'all. I had a mural on the wall in my living room that was like, you looked like you were about ready to go, kayaking or canoeing down the river. It was river and rapids and, forest and trees. And they ripped that down and put black felt and stapled it all over the wall because they had some kind of a screen, a pull down monitor screen or something. Man, I don't know what all they were doing in there. I don't know, y'all, but it was a bloody nightmare. It was a nightmare. I still haven't got the house completely put back together. There's still a couple of things that I have to do. whenever I get the money. I mean, it was just, y'all be very careful who you rent to. Make sure that you check every aspect of them. I mean, follow their Facebook back to the 80s if you can. I mean, just have somebody go by there frequently and check because things can change so quickly. They kicked out the guy that I left the house to and changed the locks, and things all happen rapidly fast. We found big 5-gallon buckets with the liquid still in the bottom. Um, it was such a nightmare. And then after he got arrested and was gone and I was back in, he was still coming over periodically, like once every 2 weeks or something, knocking on the door for something stupid that he wanted. There was no way, and no way I was going to give to him anything. I felt like he owed me so much money. And if he had any money, I think he went to prison a couple of months after this, so he's probably in prison right now. So, I mean, I was never going to get my money back, you know what I mean? Like, ugh, oh my gosh. It was bad, y'all. It was bad. But anyway, if you do want to see some of my art, it's at Rhonda Mills 67. And I'm going to go back in there and do some more schoolwork. And I hope everybody has a really good night. And be careful. Careful who you rent to. Bye, y'all.